Operation status quo. Operation status quo. Prepare to engage. Operation status quo. Ready to engage. Operation status quo. Engaged. Engaged. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Operation Status Quo on Thursday. Everybody loves a Thursday. Let me get down over here and fix up my screen. Okay, here I am. How you doing out there? Oh my goodness, I love you guys so much, and it's always a pleasure. And as you know, well, it's always a pleasure. That's all I really have to say. It's really just always a pleasure. And who doesn't like pleasure? Oh man, I'll start off silly off the bat. Quite honestly, I literally just got off the phone with my mother, and I love my mother, but I mean, she just says so much so fast, kind of like how I do, I guess, right? Maybe that's why I'm her son, although it's just a different form of saying a lot of nothing quickly. So my brain was melting out of my ears a little bit, and I said, Mom, I'm sorry. I gotta go do my show, please, before my brain completely shuts down. So anyway, hello and welcome to I love my mom, by the way. So let me give a round of applause for moms out there. Everybody should love their mother. I always say this, especially as an Italian boy, that no woman is ever going to love you as much as your mother does, unless you have like a crackhead mother or something, but I'm sorry if you do.
Heyo.
But anyway, that's a whole nother story. Maybe we'll do a show about that one day. Anyway, so today, ladies and gentlemen, is the, well, first of all, hello, I'm Pete Palma, and this is Operation Status Quo. I'm your host. Welcome, and thanks for being here today. This is the place where we observe the status quo of life. We learn to flow with the status quo of life, and then, of course, we create our own flow of quo, because that's the only way to go. So are you creating your own flow of quo out there in your life? Are you empowering yourself to do what makes you happy and to live to be your best self and not to get too caught up in the confines and the fear and everything else that goes on with our mainstream world? That's a question for you to answer to yourself. And if you'd like to answer it here on the show, you can also drop your comments in the comments and let me know what you do think about that. And today, ladies and gentlemen, is the 14th of December in the good year 2023. And today's program is entitled Class in Session. That's right, because, I find it, first of all, I find it interesting, as I always do, to find some of this information online. And I find a lot of this stuff of these lists and such of different behaviors of social interactions and ways of telling people, whether they're being nice or not in their social interactions, right? So this particular bit of information is, some behaviors that people may engage in that might show that you're not so classy, and I'm curious, to see what kind of information they provide in that regard, because obviously, I feel that we're so handicapped nowadays socially overall for a multitude of reasons. Of course, our younger generation so programmed with the phones and social media and everything like that. And of course, the way the world has gone with COVID and everything else that's separated people apart. And, a lot of just oddities, as it were. Well, they're not really oddities. They're things that are done on purpose to keep society separated, right? I mean, that's how we flow here on Operation Status Quo. We know that the mainstream objective is to, disenchant people, to disconnect people, to dishearten people. That's pretty much, the game plan of what's going on out there, because the more you can beat down the population, make them feel bewildered and beaten down, and keep them separate from each other, and keep people from helping to build each other up and support one another, right? It makes it a lot easier for them to continue their control over the population. So that's basically what goes on. But so now I guess we're trying to find a way to rebuild and teach people how to be classy, how to be nice to your fellow man, as it were. So first of all, before I even get into the list, I just want to mention about yesterday. Great show yesterday with Ron from Ron's Basement, and I was so appreciative of him taking the time to come on here live yesterday and to speak with Operation Status Quo. And the video got some good feedback as far as views and such. So if you haven't seen it, you can go back and check. Yesterday we were talking about the precious metals and information regarding that. And Ron has a channel on YouTube, Ron's Basement. You can look that up. And good guy, and I appreciate his support, and I appreciate the support of anybody that's come from his audience over here to watch what I'm doing. So thank you if you're here and you're part of Ron's Basement. You're welcome. I'm not in the basement. I'm actually upstairs. So this is Pete's upstairs. This is Pete's upstairs kind of extra area of the upstairs. I don't know, how I can label it. This particular spot's not a bedroom. It's actually an extra living space that's upstairs. I don't know. Anyway, that's a whole nother story. We don't need to get into all that. So let's get into our list here today, ladies and gentlemen, and see if we can find out how classy or not classy we are being. So some behaviors that show just how classless someone really is. So let's see. Hopefully, I don't think you would fall into these behaviors, ladies and gentlemen, because you're here on Operation Status Quo and you have love and peace in your heart and you know that you want to care about your fellow man. So you wouldn't do these type of things. And, it's just funny to see. I'm just looking at the first couple. You know how I like the information to be new to me as it's new to you. I do a quick look, but I don't really get deep into it because I want to be able to see whatever comes out of my head when I see it, right? All right. I'm just looking at this real quick. I can't believe I even got to tell people this type of stuff. But anyway, these are some behaviors that show that you might not have so much class. So let's see how we rate, okay? And let me know as we're going through this. Drop your comments in the comments and let me know how you rate with this one or what you think about each and every one of these. Just let me know. Talking over people in conversation is the first one in the list. Ever been in a conversation where someone constantly talks over others? This behavior is a clear sign of disrespect, and it shows they value their own voice more than anyone else's. So I wouldn't say necessarily that it's a clear sign of disrespect as much as just self-absorption, because I do have a couple friends that are just that way. I notice they just don't listen. They just want to talk, right? They just want to vent and talk. And I'm this way too. I like to talk a lot. And I do realize sometimes when I meet someone new and I'm in conversation, I want to share a lot of things, I want to share me too. And I have to be because I can, obviously you see what goes on in the show and I can obviously, talk a lot. So I'm always mindful to let people get their point and say, hey, listen, I just said something. This person is speaking now. Let me not only, I'm not just listening for them to take a break so that I can jump back in and say what I want to say. I would like to actively listen so that I can understand what they said and reply with something relevant to what they were saying to show that I'm listening to what they were saying. But do you ever get those people who just kind of talk over you all the time? You start to say something. I had this one guy, I think I probably told this story before, with the real estate. And, he started telling me something and I was listening. And then I wanted to, when he was finished, I started to interject and make my point about what he was saying. I think I got a sentence or two at the most before he jumped right in and started and kept on going. I was like, oh, okay. I realized this guy really doesn't give a crap about what I say. He's not going to listen or take it in. He just wants to keep regurgitating his shit. So let me just not say too much. When you meet those type of people, honestly, right? I mean, this is all part of what we talk about here on Operation Status Quo as well. We always talk about, we observe life, right? So we realize what's going on in the world. And when you encounter someone who is, in that kind of behavior, or, you don't have to get mad or, try to prove a point. You just realize this is where they are. And, you let the conversation go and then you don't have to talk to them anymore. You just know already, this person's never going to stop talking when I talk. So there's no reason for me to talk to them. They might as well just record themselves saying everything they want to say and then send it to you in a message like that. Being rude to service staff. Well, you don't even have to explain this one, of course. Being rude to waiters, cashiers, or any service staff. Any service staff can be very revealing. Being rude or dismissive towards them is a major red flag. It shows lack of empathy. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, I've worked in the restaurant business and service industry in multiple ways for a lot of years, and most people are generally, pretty nice, but you do get these people who think they're big mahafs and, they want to push the service staff around. They're paying. I've been out with people, they think because they're paying, and you are paying and you should get your service. But at the same time, the waiter who comes to your table or waitress or the whatever's in between of that now, who comes to your table, there's no reason to be rude to them unless they're blatantly doing something that's rude to you where you feel like you need to speak up. And at that point, I guess you would talk to a manager. Anyway, but I've experienced this where I see people being rude to staff, and I always feel really badly. Usually I'll give an extra tip to that person. I'm really sorry about my friend here. He's an asshole, so here's a few extra bucks for you. It's remember the movie Cable Guy when, what's his name? is it Matthew McConaughey or whatever, is having dinner with the girl, and he's like, "Excuse me, what are you hunting? Where's my chicken? Oh, sir, it's being cooked." It's like, well, you want to go back and check on it, my friend, if it's not too much trouble for you. It's like, I would, first of all, let me just say this as an end to this particular one. Don't give people that are serving you your food a hard time, right? I mean, let's be real. They go back in the kitchen, and you just don't know what's going to happen when you decide, to piss them off, right? So just be nice. If you really got a problem, at least wait till the food comes out and then be an asshole to the service staff, right? Because you don't want them spitting on your food or worse before it gets to you. They might know that you have like a peanut allergy, and they grind up some cashews into your food to say, you know what, F this guy. Let's grind up some nuts in his food and see when his throat closes up what he's got to say then, right? So be careful out there with the service staff. Swearing constantly is another one that can show a lack of class. I mean, of course, in certain situations, I curse here on the show sometimes, but like, I'm not trying to be on here like F this, F that, F this, F that. Maybe a certain group of people, like if you're maybe you play sports, you're in the locker room, people are kind of cursing and talking dirty a little bit. You work in a warehouse. I used to work in a warehouse some years ago, and these guys, I think the only words they knew were curse words. So sometimes they're just trying to express themselves, like, oh, me person, fuck you. That's pretty much all they can get out. But swearing constantly does kind of show a lack of class. I don't even say almost a lack of class, but yeah, I don't want to say, I was going to say a lack of intelligence, but some people say that, people who curse a lot are actually very intelligent, which could be true too, but it really just depends on the situation. Swearing has its place. If you swear too much, it loses its luster, right? So pick your moments for swearing, like when you're driving down the road and somebody cuts you off, and you're going to go, fuck you worthless piece of bleep, you bleep hole. Save it for that. You get it all out in one shot, right? Laughing at or making fun of people, mocking or ridiculing others, especially in public, is one of the most obvious classless behaviors. It shows a lack of empathy and an inclination to belittle others to feel superior. Classy individuals understand the value of uplifting others, not tearing them down for a laugh. Making fun of someone's appearance, choices, or mistakes is mean-spirited and reveals a lack of maturity. And again, like, that's what's funny about this. Like, how are we not raised as a society, in a sense, to like not know something like this, right? We basically know that it's rude to belittle others in public. Now, I had groups of friends, when we were younger, we all poke fun at each other and bust each other's chops a lot. There's a line, right? I mean, if you're blatantly putting somebody down or trying to make a fool of them is one thing compared to, busting chops, right? I mean, we all have our ways and our idiosyncrasies and our little habits and such. Sometimes it's fun to poke fun at little things, but, if you see somebody's upset, or that if you do make fun of a certain aspect of their character, that it's going to hurt their feelings, then you don't do it, right? I mean, you have to know the person, your audience. You have to know your audience, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to figure out my audience. Let me know, are you my audience? You are my audience, and I love you out there. And of course, I appreciate you being here with me each and every day on Operation Status Quo. Why not click like just for fun? You know what I mean? Subscribe if you haven't already. Drop some comments in the comments. Let me know how you're enjoying it so far. So another one here on the list is constantly bragging and the one-upmanship. Yeah, I've especially in my, my day job, working, in that field, it's all these people that, really think that they're somebodies with their titles and stuff. So, people will brag, and really more so than the bragging is the one-upmanship. Like, you try to express something that you're doing, if somebody's being open to just accomplish something, like, I don't know, maybe they wrote a book, or, maybe they just finished a painting, or maybe they just lost 10 pounds because they're on an exercise program. And, how people are, they go, oh yeah, well, I just did this, or I did that too, or, I did that a long time ago, or, that kind of stuff. Like, we should, when somebody's kind of expressing something they feel proud of, to me, it makes sense to, ingratiate them and build them up and let them, bask a little bit in feeling proud for the accomplishments they make, so they continue to grow and be a better person. Ultimately, and I talk about this all the time, the more we push each other down, it just makes it harder for all of society. Nobody wins by trying to get on top of of somebody else, and I was going to make a joke about, I just said, get on top of somebody else. There was like 6 jokes that ran through my mind, but this is a family show, ladies and gentlemen. and I love you out there. So don't brag, be proud of what you did, what I'm saying. But I try to, I'm that way too. Like I never want to brag about anything. Sometimes nice things happen to me. It doesn't mean I'm better than anything. I really feel the only reason good things happen in my life is because, I keep that space of like never getting ahead of anything. Like if something good happens to me, I don't think, I made it. Now I'm better than this or that. Anything could be, the rug can be pulled out from under you like at any time. So always about graciousness, always about reverence, always about respect and gratitude. Be thankful for what goes on in your life, and there's nothing to brag about, right? Everything happens in your life as it should for your growth and stuff. So if positive things are happening to you, you should be really more so proud that they are, and realizing that it's because of having gratitude and graciousness that these things do happen to you. You start going the other way, and you're going to start losing some stuff, right? Showing up late all the time could be a sign of not having too much class. I'm not big on the lateness. I don't care for it. Number one, I'm always early if I have an appointment because everyone's time is valuable and everybody's trying to get done what they have to get done. And I do. I don't know if it's not classy, but it's just more of dismissive towards the needs of others, right? If you have an appointment, be on time. It's really like plain and simple, and it's like don't make an appointment for a time that is difficult for you. I mean, I think that's important too. Like really be real with yourself and know, how you're going to perform in situations, and you base your scheduling, your situations, whatever you're doing on the truth of what you're actually going to do. Be real with yourself and know what you're going to follow through on. Don't be rude to other people that way, right? I had a friend of mine too. I'm sure I told this before too. Like he was just late for everything, always late. You know what I'm saying? And it used to drive me crazy. We used to have to go places together. We worked together. We had to go to training classes and stuff, and it was always late. I'm like, now he's going to make me be late. Now I look like a jerk because we're going together, and I have to wait for him, right? So lacking table manners. Table manners are about more than just which fork to use. It's about consideration for those around you. Chewing with an open mouth, speaking loudly while eating, or being messy are signs of poor upbringing or a lack of concern for others' comfort. Class involves being mindful of your behavior in shared spaces, especially while eating. So yeah, if you're eating, it's nice to, use your utensils to, chew with your mouth closed. I mean, is this stuff that has to be taught? Do people not know a respectful way to eat? We're not cows grazing out in the field over there, right, ladies and gentlemen, or pigs at a trough, So, and share too. If you go out to dinner, sometimes they put the bread on the table. I don't even know if they still do that anymore because everybody's cut back on so much. They still give you a few rolls or something for free when you go to eat. So, but if they do and they put some bread out, you don't just jump in there and grab everything. Make sure there's enough for everybody. In those situations, I like to let everybody else get what they want first. And if I get a little piece, that's fine. You know what I'm saying? You can ask them to bring more bread, right? So, littering or disrespecting public property. Yes, I agree with this. And again, these are all saying about being classy, but these are just ways of being, a good human in a sense, right? I mean, littering and disrespecting public property, any property really, right? Because this is the earth. We should have reverence for the earth. We should be respectful. We should be responsible is what I really want to say for our own trash and stuff. You don't just go to Wawa, or if you don't know Wawa, it's a convenience store. I'm sorry, I know I'm speaking and I have a worldwide audience, but Wawa is a convenience store here where you can get sandwiches and stuff like that. So you don't go there and get a sandwich and then just eat it and throw the wrapper, out the window, right? I mean, it's just have, more so than the class, a lot of these things, again, it just comes down to people, we're so bred to be so self-consumed with what we want each moment. We don't think about anything. Oh, who gives a frig? Throw it over here. Who gives a crap? Chew with your mouth open. Who gives a crap? Just talk over people. Be late. It doesn't matter, right? So it's kind of all about that stuff, really being mindful. It just comes down to common courtesy and common respect, and I think we haven't been taught that a lot in our world, over these years, because of the way the world has been divided, and especially, again, through our technology has really done a number on keeping people from, having more concern for others because everybody's living in a virtual world. Living in a virtual world, and I am a virtual girl. Anyway, being tolerant or showing prejudice, being intolerant or showing prejudice, expressing intolerant views or engaging in prejudiced behavior is perhaps the most revealing sign of classlessness. It shows a lack of empathy, understanding, and respect for diversity. Classy individuals embrace differences and treat everyone with respect and dignity. Intolerance and prejudice are rooted in ignorance and fear, far removed from class and sophistication. And that speaks for itself, too. I mean, obviously, I said this, I don't think I said this yesterday, I think it was the day before, when I was just saying I really love meeting all kinds of new people from different places. Everyone has a story to tell and a perspective to share. I never understood the whole thing with the racism and, being against different groups or religions or, anything. Not everything be your cup of tea per se, but we're all humans and we're all equal, and there should be no reason to put anyone down for any of that type of stuff. Because again, we're all one energy, and we are all playing out the roles we're meant to play out to learn the lessons that we're meant to learn in this life. And that's what we love to do here on Operation Status Quo: empower people and encourage people to live their best selves and, treat everyone with equal respect, and that'll cascade throughout the world, and everybody will start to do that, and we'll all be nice to each other. Imagine that, right? Everybody being nice to each other. What kind of crazy nonsense are we talking about? Not acknowledging other people's contributions, failing to recognize or acknowledge the things other people do is a classic sign of classlessness. Whether it's in a work setting or in everyday life, taking credit for what others have done or not giving credit where it's due shows a lack of integrity and appreciation. Well, yes, obviously that too. Like even yesterday when I had Ron on, the first thing I did is I really wanted to acknowledge how his channel has grown. I do this YouTube every day, and obviously, it is what it is, which is fine. But I give him credit. Like, he's been working really hard at it. His channel's really grown. He's consistent. He sends out messages. He's built up a nice audience, and I'm happy for anybody who's successful in anything they do. I wouldn't sit here and think, oh, those people get all those views. Why don't I get those views? I really don't think that. Whoever's meant to see what I do is great, and whoever sits here and watches it and enjoys it, that's great. That's what I'm here for. Invading people's personal space, disrespecting personal boundaries and space is a clear sign of classlessness, whether it's standing too close, touching without permission, or intruding into personal matters. Such behavior shows a disregard for others' comfort and privacy. So those close talkers, remember in Seinfeld when he had the close talker and the guy would get right up in their face and start talking. So, but yeah, you always got to be respectful of people's space a little bit, especially nowadays, when everybody's still kind of half afraid of the fake pandemic, right? So they always want to keep a little space. People are on edge a little bit, of getting to know other people because nobody really trusts anybody right now in certain ways, right? The world's so crazy. So, give people the space to, show your true self, engage in conversation or whatever it may be. And, give them the space to feel comfortable with you being in their space, right? So I like to be mindful of that all the time. Even like when I go for my walks and I see people like, I try not, I can easily stop and talk to certain people, but I try not to get be intrusive. Like, it's their day. I'm not trying to hold them up. I don't want to be held up either because I'm on my walk, but, be mindful of people's personal space if you're not. Anyway, gossiping and spreading rumors, of course, we're talking, that speaks for itself. We're talking about people and, gossip is like one of the worst things. Oh, did you know that so-and-so, did you know that so-and-so did such and such and did do and boo, 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 who cares, man? Because one day something's going to be happening where people could be gossiping about you, and people could easily gossip about anybody, about anything all the time, whether it's true or not. People make shit up because they're mad at you, right? But yeah, that's why it says spreading rumors. So, if you listen, it's pretty simple. Like, if you're with people that, are not your people, it's no big deal, right? You don't have to prove anything to them. They're not your enemy. You don't have to get back at anybody, right? So, if somebody's gossiping about you, you don't have to prove anything either. I've had it done to me. Matter of fact, well, I'm not going to get into the whole story, but about a year or so ago, almost a couple of years ago, a situation happened where someone was really kind of talking behind my back and putting me in a bad light, and I realized what was happening, and I just disconnected from that whole situation and that person, and I never looked back. I'm not going to try to get back at them. I'm not going to try to prove myself. I know who I am, and the people who know me and people who are engaged with me, they know what's what. I don't have to prove myself. The proof is in the pudding, ladies and gentlemen, as they say, because you just got to do what you got to do. Flaking on commitments all the time. Yes, do not make commitments that you're not going to keep. That's why I was even saying about being on time earlier, right? Be realistic with yourself and know what you're going to do. Know your comfort zone. Don't just be a people pleaser. They say this is classlessness, but I mean, why are you making a commitment if you're not going to do it? Don't just say yeah. Either you care and you're going to do it or you're not. And so just be real. You're better off being honest and saying, no, I can't move forth with this, or I can do this, but at a different time. Don't make commitments to try to show that you're like you're some great person, and then you never follow through, because then again, the proof is in the pudding, right? We got two more here. Let's see, two more. Overreacting to small issues, blowing minor issues out of proportion, or creating a scene over trivial matters reveals a lack of perspective and self-control. It's a behavior that shows a tendency towards drama and attention-seeking. Class involves maintaining composure and dealing with issues in a calm, collected manner. And I would agree with that. Of course, you ever see how people get like crazy over shit that don't mean shit? I mean, they just start freaking out over it could be something even at a restaurant or a convenience store or something, and they get all mad at it. Even like a parking spot or something. Everybody wants to freak out and fight all the time. So I mean, and aside from whether it's classy or not, I mean, do you want to bring that energy into your life of being all pissed off over something that's kind of trivial, right? So I really got to pick your battles. If there's a situation where you got to speak up and say something, that's great, but be realistic of and mindful of what those situations entail. Finally, on the list, ladies and gentlemen, getting an attitude when someone has different opinions. Reacting negatively or dismissively to opinions that differ from their own is another sign of classlessness. It shows an inability to engage in open-minded and respectful discourse. Class involves listening to and considering different viewpoints, even if you disagree with them. So, I mean, obviously, right? I talk about that here all the time. Even I have my beliefs, and not everyone may resonate with the things that I say or believe as far as what's going on in our world, or, especially in politics today and stuff like that. Everybody has such different sides to everything. So, there's no reason to, be dismissive, or what did I say? They said, getting an attitude. Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. Just, I've had conversations with people. Like I did this, it was earlier in the week when I talked about the woman saying that, our democracy's under threat, and I got like, and I could have given her an attitude and started saying some stuff to try to, prod at her viewpoint. But then I said, to myself, right, this is where this person just showed me exactly where they are in their thought process. So what does it say about me if I want to start, pushing on them and trying to prove, my viewpoint? There's nothing to prove, right? This is where you are and this is what you believe. And I know there's plenty of other people that are where I am and believe what I believe. So I'd rather just kind of, have my conversation with them. I can express myself in those ways that way, instead of, creating a situation where now I'm going to be an enemy with this person because I'm trying to, give them shit because I don't believe what they believe. Let them believe whatever they want. Let people believe whatever they want. Let people do whatever they want. That's what Operation Status Quo is all about. It's about observing life, flowing with life, and then you just do what you got to do that's best for you, and you bring the people into your life that are going to help you to do that. Just that. Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. A round of applause here today for Class in Session. How classy are you? How many of these behaviors have you encountered? How many of these behaviors do you engage in? How many of these behaviors do you despise?
Heyo.
How many of these behaviors would you like to do? So let me know in the comments. And, again, I appreciate you guys out there. It's always a pleasure to be here for you on Operation Status Quo. If you haven't done so already, please take the time to like, subscribe, share, send this out to your friends, your family, those you love, and, of course, those you despise as well. I love each and every one of you out there individually as well as a group. Don't forget, my contact information is in the description box below. So feel free to reach out if you want to be a part of the show, if you want to come on the show, if you want any topics you'd like me to discuss. let me know. I can talk about just about anything, ladies and gentlemen. So God bless you out there. Until tomorrow, Operation Status Quo, disengaged.
Is a boulevard of 10 short blocks.